today on the CTV News at 5. The province rules on Crow's Nest Pass residents' request for a review of council and administration operations. Plus,
you get till 2:30.
2:30?
Yeah, I'll be back.
Puppy Power, how Lethbridge College is helping students battle stress. And the Hurricanes are back in the win column.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Alberta Municipal Affairs Minister Doug Griffiths has agreed to conduct an inspection into the operations of the Crow's Nest Pass Council and Administration. The Crow's Nest Pass Ratepayers Association received a letter Tuesday confirming its petition was sufficient and that an inspection will be launched in accordance with the Municipal Government Act. The ratepayers are concerned about fee hikes and rising taxes, as well as the dismissal of the Blairmore fire chief and mass resignation of volunteer firefighters. Members of the association met last night in Bellevue. President Bill Kovac says they are elated by the minister's decision to carry out an inspection that will cover a lot of areas.
The minister actually specified 18 different items, but he also indicated that they're not limited. The inspectors won't be limited to those items. It's a very good letter. He's told us that, yes, the inspection will support a lot of the things the municipality is doing, but and it also says that, you know, if there's anything that's found out, that there will be action taken.
The Ratepayers Association says the letter gives no indication of just how long the inspection will take or when it's going to start, but the association is hoping the process will get underway early in the new year. And still talking about municipal politics, the woman who lost a seat on Blood Tribe Council through a coin toss has now filed an appeal. Kyla Crow says she filed the appeal yesterday and it was handed over to the chair of the Electoral Appeal Board today. The board has 7 days to respond. Crow was tied for the 12th and final position on council during the Blood Tribe election held last week. The returning officer tossed a coin to break the tie. Crow says she's appealing the procedure used, but wants to make it clear that the action isn't meant to be disrespectful to the successful candidate, Robin Littlebear.
No, she's a very educated person, and you know, we are related, and I'm really proud of her. And you know, and it's not like it's a secret. She's aware that I'm appealing, and she's supporting me in that.
Now, Crow says she's hoping the appeals board will call a by-election to fill the final position on council. A ruling is expected tomorrow in the trial of a former American man charged after guards seized more than a dozen guns at the Coots border crossing. In August of 2010, guards seized 11 firearms, including semi-automatic handguns, 1 semi-automatic shotgun, and 3 prohibited fully automatic rifles. 43-year-old Bjorn Sjostrom was originally scheduled to stand trial on 49 charges, but the Crown withdrew 19 of those. He's accused of importing firearms without authorization, possessing a firearm without a license, and possessing a restricted or prohibited weapon. In court, Sjostrom said he didn't know the guns were there and that it was his wife's responsibility to remove the guns after a family trip to a shooting range. A BC Supreme Court judge has ruled that a workers' compensation panel was unreasonable when it ruled 6 Cranbrook teachers could not prove they suffered mercury poisoning on the job. The teachers' appeal of the decision has now led to the BC Supreme Court ordering a new hearing by the Workers' Compensation Appeal Tribunal. Now, the tribunal rejected the teachers' alleged claims of mercury poisoning back in 2006. The BC Supreme Court says the decision was a breach of WCB policy and a breach of the panel's obligation under the Workers' Compensation Act. The teachers are unable to comment at this time. Okay, Dory Rossiter, some flurries expected on Saturday. The daytime high, though, minus 12 degrees. We're not used to that.
Yeah, I know. That'll be the big shock, Jackie, not the precipitation or lack thereof. Some areas, though, right now it looks like we'll see maybe some light snow. Some areas will see some flurries. Some areas won't see anything. So it's a real hit or miss system as it comes across the mountains, kind of shredding as it does so. So the big news will be definitely the cool down. I'll have more details coming up in a couple of minutes.
Okay, thank you, Dory. Well, Albertans now have access to hundreds of documents detailing expense claims by provincial cabinet ministers. There are receipts from May to September of this year, everything from hotel and restaurant bills to taxi receipts. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation has put the material on its website. In mid-December, the government's new expense disclosure policy kicks in, and new batches of receipts will be available online every 2 months. Now, here's a look at Southern Alberta MLA expenses. Former Agriculture Minister and former Livingstone McLeod MLA Evan Berger racked up over $106,000 in expenses last year, and that was on top of his $170,000 salary. In Lethbridge West, Greg Weddick spent just under $100,000 in expenses, while Lethbridge East MLA Bridget Pasteur spent $67,000 in living and travel claims. Bryce Jacobs, former Conservative MLA for Tabor Warner Cardston, rang up almost $77,000 in expenses. Barry McFarland, who retired as the Little Bow rep, spent over $56,000. And the province has just passed the Election Accountability Amendment Act. So anyone who donates more than $250 to a party must be publicly identified. It also adds an extra year to the municipal election cycle, making it a 4-year cycle.
Well, what it means is that we have some of still the weakest elections laws in Alberta, and we all heard about all those scandals where there was illegal donations that the PC party was soliciting and accepting. Unfortunately, those are all going to be covered up.
The act also allows the chief electoral officer to publicly announce if someone is fined for making or accepting illegal campaign contributions. Opposition parties have said that the act falls short by not allowing the chief electoral officer to investigate past donations or to set fixed election dates. Large donations from Oilers owner and people associated with him made to the Tories during the last spring election sparked controversy in October. An investigation into those donations is ongoing. Well, the YWCA is helping to mark a somber anniversary. On this day in 1989, Marc Lepine went on a shooting rampage, killing 14 women and wounding 9 others at l'École Polytechnique, an engineering school in Montreal. It's the 23rd anniversary of the tragic event. A candlelight vigil will be held tonight for National Day of Remembrance and Action Against Violence on Women Day. The event goes 7 o'clock at Galt Gardens. Well, a Lethbridge Safety Education Society is no more, but its work will live on. Safety City is set to become a part of Exhibition Park. Board President Blaine Stodolka made the announcement at a media call this morning. Effective December 31st, Safety City will dissolve and actually become a part of the Exhibition Park's event programming. The takeover ensures sustainable funding for the facility that's been struggling to keep its head above water for the past 17 years.
You know, it's the perfect alignment to both of our interests, and that's the great thing in this community. We've managed to land in a special place with a good organization who has a solid footing in the community, and these programs will live on, and that's what's most important here. And
probably 30% of the programming that we do on an annual basis is targeted in one way, shape, or form to youth. So for our board, in terms of its vision and where it wants to go with the organization, to have the opportunity to help out a worthwhile community group such as Safety City, and in doing so become directly involved in more youth programming, it was a fairly easy decision.
Over 2,000 children practice pedestrian and bike safety at the Safety City training facility each year. Lethbridge's auto dealers are helping the food bank drive away hunger. The auto dealers donated $30,000 to buy a new truck that will be used to make daily pickups for the Lethbridge Food Bank. The Community Foundation of Lethbridge and Southwestern Alberta topped off the donation to cover the rest of the cost.
The Auto Dealers Association, the Community Foundation, to all be a part of that. What can I say? Just thank you. I'm so grateful that they saw that we had a need and stepped up to help us.
We do get asked for different vehicle commitments throughout the year as an organization, and we can't support them all, but when we can, we like to do that. You know, and it's great to have an association that's so tight that they don't care where it comes from, if it's you know, what brand it is. We all kind of band together and support the cause.
The auto dealers raise the money through their annual golf tournament. Operation Red Nose needs your help. They're in desperate need of volunteers for the coming weeks. The campaign is coming off its busiest weekend in its history, providing 170 rides, getting residents who've celebrated a little bit too much and their vehicles both home safely. It's the 18th year for Operation Red Nose, and the athletic director says in order for it to continue to be successful, they need volunteers badly.
Yeah, we really need some help with volunteers. We were predicting an increase in calls to Operation Red Nose, and it was by far busiest first weekend we ever had. So we're expecting that will continue. We start running into trouble not so much this weekend, but that weekend of the 15th, and for sure the weekend of the 21st, 22nd. We can definitely use some help from some people out in the community.
For a ride or to find out how you can volunteer, call 403-329-2681. And on the markets today, a good rebound. Here are the day's closing numbers.